is just driving me crazy.
Hello, welcome to the Bakerseniors Show. This is Marion LaSalle and Steve Baker. And Steve is here today to teach us all about Medicare. We're here live every single Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central Time. And today our topic is amazing because it really hits home for me. It's all about business. It's about the unions and the business owners and associations nationwide. So Mr. Baker is going to tell us a little bit about Medicare and what that means to business owners and to businesses all over the country. We're very excited about this topic, Steve. What is it that you want to share with us?
Well, I'm actually a Medicare broker. In other words, I represent several companies, and a lot of times one company will fit a client very well, and another one could fit it better. But I can go with either one, and so I'll basically pick one. Sometimes it's inappropriate to go with one company. So I have an array of various what we call providers, or there's another word for it that I'll think of in just a second. But there's different companies involved in Medicare, and let me explain my situation. One of my companies that I'm associated with does a program for business owners, associations, and unions, and all of those people have one thing in common, and they have employees. Sometimes it's not many employees, sometimes it's hundreds and hundreds of employees. What my company does is they go in and they help the people set up a program for retirees, people who are retired, because a lot of times someone will choose to stay on the company insurance for their spouse and themselves, and as time goes on, it doesn't seem to be working that well. So we have a program set up so that we can move people out of that when it's appropriate. Now you got to understand it has to be appropriate. So we move them out of that into regular Medicare, and with a supplement. It's either an Advantage plan or traditional, one of the two. So it's actually one that's designed, and by designed I mean you can actually create a situation with a provider so that it will work. So
when you say it's designed, who's it designed by? You?
it's a designed between the company that I represent,
Okay.
and the human resources department,
Okay.
and it works very well once it's in effect.
So I'm imagining that you contact a company, or a company contacts you, and they say, look, our seniors, the people that are going on to Medicare that are still working for our company,
Right.
would like some information, or would like a better suggestion on how to handle their insurance. And that's where you and the HR department work together to come up with this plan.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
See,
And
I'm
then,
getting it.
and then the third equation is the carrier that I spoke about earlier. So the
Right.
carrier gets involved as well. So between the three of us, we can work up a program that's appropriate for everyone to carry them on out. See, more and more people are working past 65.
I can
Yeah.
understand why. As I
Yeah.
get closer to
Yeah.
that age, I'm like, I'm not retiring. What are you talking about? I'm just getting going.
Right. But once someone does retire, there's they have to make some decision at that point. And so what we've done is that we have designed a situation between the carrier and the human resources department to set up an individual design program for them. And no two situations is the same. So we spend some time, and we have to do it correctly. someone may be, say, 67, 68, 69, and now they're ready to retire. And once they're ready to retire, then some decisions have to be made, and we can design a program for them.
For the individual as they
For the
retire.
individual, right. And they actually go off the company payroll, so to speak, or the company, what we call the census, and actually saves the company quite a bit of money because they're out of it. They wipe their hands of it. They turn it over to Medicare with a supplement of some sort, and we move on down the road. And the company itself saves a lot of money.
I hate to interrupt, Steve, but your microphone is scraping on your shirt, and it's causing a.
Okay, I'll hold it up here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Right.
Okay, so companies can really help their employees, not only while they're still working there, but also as they're getting ready to leave. They can contact you to come in and talk to the employee so that they can be assured that they're covered and that they have the right coverage.
Yes, and they have the best plan for their situation. And it works really well. We're doing it all over the country. We've just set up a rather large one with the transportation union across the country. There's like 250,000 people involved, and that equates to like 400,000 households. So we set up a call center, and the people, if they have questions, they can call into this call center. They don't call me, they don't call carrier, but they can call our call center, and the call center people are trained, and they know what to say and how to direct the people and answer any questions they may have, particularly when they start having claims and so forth. So it's just a created situation. Every situation is a little different, but what we do is we spend some time with them and kind of hold their hand and move them into the program. And so far, it's worked very, very well.
It seems to me that businesses have a lot to deal with. And that health insurance is just one of the many things that they are trying to wash their hands of. So it would make sense to me to have you come in and take that burden away from them. Correct. So that they can focus on what they do best, which is their business,
Mm-hmm. Correct. And they've got enough to do and think about just with the present employees, what we call underage people, that would be under 65. And their health care and their situation, let alone they have been released and retired, and maybe they're even 70 sometimes. And I run across people all the time, and they'll say, "I'm going to continue to work. I'm not going to leave yet." A lot of people have a situation like this. They turn 65, but their spouse is like 62 or something like that. That means they must stay on the company program. They have to, in order to insure their wife. Once our husband, whichever the case may be, once the spouse reaches 65, then they're free to move out and make decisions about what they want to do at that point. And that's where we come in. So it's just one of the things that I do. And I'm able to make the right contacts, set up the situation, go in and meet with them, and do some calls on the telephone, and we can come up with a good situation that'll save the company a lot of money.
So tell me, Steve, what kind of business is perfect for calling you to have you come in and help them with this problem that they're having with their employees' health care?
Well, what
kind of business?
Okay, you can just imagine all the different kinds of unions that are out there. There's the printers union, there's the electrical union, there's the plumbers union, there's this union, there's a mechanics union, there's all kinds of various unions. And the unions typically or historically have taken it upon themselves to help their members with a good benefit program, which includes prominently health care. So we go in and help with and work with the unions. Now, the unions may be employed in numbers of different companies, but still they're part of the plumbers union, or they're the part of the pipe fitters union. So there are all kinds of automobile, unions, all kinds of different unions. So we work a lot with the unions. And sometimes the unions are not involved, and we work with the individual employers. And as I said, no two situations are the same.
To really help us understand what it is that you're telling us, can you give us some examples? Give us an example of a small mom and pop business, and then maybe you could give us an example of a bigger business. Let's start with something small.
Okay, let's start with something.
Say a dry cleaner down the road,
Yeah.
and they have 10 employees.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are part-time, some of them are full-time, some of them are getting ready to retire.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a story of how that would work.
Well, basically, there are three categories. There are those employees with 20 or fewer employees, and they're in one situation, and they have just more or less just direct. You deal with employees one-on-one. There's 50 employees. That puts puts them in another category, 50 or more, and there you go into a design for a situation with multiple employees. So you've got a lot more breathing room, so to speak, with larger companies. So it's I'm working on.
So can you give us a?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
For an example, so we can wrap our brain around it.
Yeah. For an example, I'm working right now with a rather large printing company, and they have about 150 employees. So we've been talking with them about providing a situation so that their employees, when they turn 65, or then if they want to work, that's one situation. If they're ready to retire after 65, that's another situation. So in this particular instance, it's about 150 employees. So you have to just go in and see what they have. Go look at their census, and then take that to the carrier and see what the carrier is willing to do, rather than just going out and enrolling people in Medicare one-on-one, which I've done for years and years and years. But you have a lot more flexibility, and you have a lot better ways of designing a program.
Okay, let's take a slight break here and tell you how you can reach Mr. Baker. If you own a business, or you're an employee of a business, and you don't feel that you have all the information that you need for your Medicare as you start to get to that age where you think you might want to retire, or that you just want the information as you're getting to that point. I want you to be able to talk to Steve Baker, and he is more than willing to talk to you about your specific circumstance. So I want you to give him a call. He's very friendly. He has lots of information for you. He even has phone numbers that go directly to Medicare if you want to get even more information. So call Steve at 832-754-3292 and just talk with Steve about your circumstance. Like I said, whether you're a business owner, or you're part of a union, or you're part of HR, I think it would be a great opportunity for you to give Steve a call just to find out what would the next step be.
Yes. Typically, we start right there. We have a discussion, and I'm able to ask some questions, and nothing is done at that point. I'll usually end the conversation with, okay, I've got the information that I need. I'll do some checking around, and we'll talk to some people and see what we can do. And a lot of times we'll come back to them, and really you just need to stay stay in your present situation. But most of the time, I can come back with something that makes sense for them, and that will release a lot of employees who are 65 in that range, or getting ready to retire, or getting ready to turn 65. So we can do a lot of different moving around a little bit and make some definite recommendations that'll benefit the company's bottom line. That's the key right there.
That's the key. You want a better bottom line if you're a business owner, then you need to call Steve and see what your options are, because there are options. And this
Correct.
is nationwide. We just happen to be in the fourth largest city now in the country, Houston, Texas. But it doesn't matter where you are. Steve says this is nationwide. So if you have multiple locations or you're planning on expanding, it doesn't matter, right, Steve?
Correct.
You can have this program anywhere you are.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So typically, who would you expect to call you? Is it the union? Is it the HR? Is it the employee? Is it the owner? Who calls you typically to get you to come in and talk to them?
All of the above.
Okay.
Right. All of the above.
And so let's say, Steve, that they're in New Jersey. You're here in Houston. Would you fly there to talk to them, or would you open up a Zoom call and have it done through the web?
I can open up a Zoom call, or we can do a conference call. A conference call usually settles a lot, and the person that I would put on the line with us is probably either the carrier, or it'll be the company that I'm associated with, the person that's in charge there, and he can explain in detail what can and will happen. So he can, so I set up a conference call basically. And they answer,
Okay.
they
So there's no obligation.
No obligation whatsoever. None.
Okay.
But it's just a possibility, and it may be that we that they just need to stay where they are with their present situation. But most of the time we can help them change the situation so that they're spending a lot less on a monthly basis for their employee coverage. There are some situations that someone, this just is a little aside, if someone is on a plan in a company, we cannot incentivize that person to move out of the company. It's a federal law, so we have to walk very carefully there. But there are some things that we can do. We can sit down and meet with the employee, and the company is out of it in terms of making a recommendation or so forth. And we could just show them a few more options that they might have in order to have better coverage for less money. A lot of times they're paying higher deductibles. And the deductibles are a big thing. So if someone is on a Medicare program, the deductible itself is very low, and the amount of money they're paying on a monthly basis would be a lot less. So we can save money from the employer, and we can save money for the individual as well.
Does the employer make the decision for the employee, or do they give them a chance to decide what's best for them?
Typically, they will give them a chance, but the employer by law cannot incentivize. The ruling is, the federal ruling is that everyone who's involved must have exactly the same coverage, which a lot of time works to the disadvantage of the recipients. So we just lay it out and explain it, but we're very careful with not stepping out of bounds.
Right. Yes, you have to have rules, regulations, and control over the situation, or people can get misled. There are people out there who definitely want you to do what they want you to do.
Correct.
Okay, so give us another case, another scenario of something that you know helped somebody in a business, either the employee or the employer.
Well, I know of a situation. Everyone's heard of Boeing aircraft, as an example.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
Boeing,
Boeing
yes.
air, and they're out in
Ooh,
Seattle.
Boeing. Oh, I thought they were here in Houston.
No, no, and they're out there. We recently designed a program about a year and a half or 2 years ago for Boeing aircraft. And the way, it took a lot of time, several months, actually, to set that program up. But once it's done, the retired employees are very happy. Boeing is very happy, and you might imagine they've got employees all over the world, basically. So it took a lot of time to put that together. But that's just one success example that I have that we can talk about. And there are others, a lot of others. I'm not going to mention the names, but there are a lot of others that we're working on as well. But just associations. If you go to the library and there's a big thick book as big as when we did use telephone books, it was this as thick as a telephone book, about I guess 5 or 6 inches of just associations, just associations. And most of the time, a lot of them are 501c3 organizations, nonprofits, but they have a lot of employees, a lot. So, and they're in need of some help with their health care and benefits program. So associations, unions, and businesses are the ones that we can help with.
So if I'm an employee or I belong to an association, I can approach the people in the HR or the people that are in charge and say, I'd like Steve Baker to come in and give a presentation, or how
Yes,
does that work?
yes, you can do that. Yes, that would be, the way to do it. And I could go to the location, or we can do a conference call or a Zoom call or something like that. Set it up and have some other people on the line, and we can go to town and see if we can help. And if we can't, we can't. But if we can, it benefits a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Medicare is the center of it. So Medicare always has to be involved.
Okay.
But the carriers,
So,
the carriers can get involved, and we can, for enough employees, let's say for 1,000 or 2,000 employees, the carriers then get really interested in making some concessions in terms of what they will do and what they won't do. But we also have a call, as I explained earlier, we also have a call center so that the individual employees can call into the call center and get answers to their questions.
okay.
So,
So,
and then it's an ongoing situation. We stay with them for forever through their whole process.
so if they have questions after they're already enrolled, if they have
Yes,
individual questions, they have a phone number that they can call to get answers.
exactly,
So they don't have to bother the employer.
exactly,
Oh,
exactly. They don't,
that makes a big difference because
so they
they
don't have,
won't have the answers.
yes, so they don't have to go through human resources.
Oh, well, that's a plus.
They just call our call center.
I see. I see. Okay. Well, this has been fascinating information. Is there any last final thoughts that you have to encourage people to reach out to you, Steve?
No, it's just a way of getting the ball rolling, and I'll talk to them and find out the information that I need, and then I'll indicate to them, and I'll be glad to call them back and see where we can go from there, or if we can go from there. I'm not going to give them a definite yes or a definite no, but it actually deserves some exploration, no question about it.
Fantastic. Well, as you heard, there are options, and that's what Steve is trying to really get across. You can call Steve, set up a conference call. He'll even come out and do a presentation for your company. I want you to be able to have all the facts so that you have the best coverage for you, your company, and for the employee. For all the people that rely on you as they turn 65 and they're still working with your company, I want you to be able to reach out and talk to Steve so that you can have the best possible scenario. Please give him a call at 832-754-3292 and talk to Steve about your Medicare questions. Get the answers that you're looking for. I want to thank you for coming and being on our show. I want to thank Steve for bringing this information to us because there's a lot of confusion out there. And Steve is breaking it down, making it clear, making us understand that we do have options. There's nothing forced here. There's options, and each individual has something that they can use for their own benefit. You don't have to be a cookie cutter and do what everybody else does. Steve will tell you the best for your case. So Steve Baker is available Monday through Friday, maybe even a Saturday occasionally, right, Steve?
Correct.
So give him a call at 832-754-3292. We're here live every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock Central Time, and I want you to be able to ask questions. If you have any questions at all, if you have thoughts that you want to run by us, you know you can be right here with us live. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we also have a podcast, The Baker Senior Show. Until next week, bye for now.
Bye.